So today, what are we going to discuss? We're going to discuss three topics. One is most important one, modal verbs. The second one is formal letters, and the third one is informal letters. My dear friends, all these things you people have been studying right from your school days. Why is it being repeated again and again? Is because it is to reiterate the fact that all these things are very, very important. And till we are in the professional life, till we are in the professional career, we are going to use all these things. That is why in all our walks of life, in every session, in every time, whenever we move on in our career, we still keep learning all these things again and again and again. Why? So, as I have already told you, these are the ones that we are going to use it throughout our professional career. Okay, so let us begin. Let us begin with modal verbs. But before going to modal verbs, let us see what are verbs. Verbs are action words. Verbs are action words. What sort of action? That is the action done by the sub. Action done by the subject. Now, now we know that verb is an action done by the subject. What is modal? Modal verbs are the ability of the noun or the subject. Listen very carefully. Modal verbs are the abilities of the noun or the subject. Let us see what these modal verbs are. So what are we going to see in modal verbs? You are going to see the definition. You're going to see the structure of modal verbs, and you're going to see how we use these modal verbs. That is through examples. I'm going to explain. Okay, we'll move on to the definition now. A modal verb is a type of auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. Okay, modal verb is also a helping verb that is used to indicate modality. What do you mean by modality? That is given. That is likelihood, ability, permission, possibility. I'll repeat it once again. A modal verb is also a helping verb. It's a type of auxiliary verb. What is that? That is helping verb, which is used to indicate modality. What is modality? Modality is likelihood, ability, permission, and possibility. Different ways of permission, different ways of possibilities, different ways of abilities, different ways of likelihood. This is what we are going to see. Once again, I'll repeat the definition. A modal verb is a type of auxiliary verb. That is, a modal verb is also a helping verb which is used to indicate likelihood, ability, permission, and possibility. Clear, all of you? I hope all of you are having your papers and pens ready so that you can note down whatever we are teaching you. I hope all of you are doing the same, right? Okay, we'll move on. Now let us see the list of modal verbs. You have something called can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, ought to, and must. I'll repeat it once again. Can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, ought to, and must. My dear friends, these are the ones that is going to, we are going to use these to tell about our likelihood, about our ability, about the permission, and about the possibility. What are they? They are can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, ought to, and must. What are these explaining? What will these explain to us? These will give us about livelihood, in fact, likelihood, ability, permission, and possibility. Okay. Now, subjects. We all know about first person to third person. We all know about the first person singular to third person plural. I, we, they, you, he, she, it. Now, see the modal verb. See, main verb is the actual, that is why it is called as main verb. Main verb is the actual action. So these give you the indication of likelihood, ability, permission, and possibility. Okay. These are a type of auxiliary verbs or helping verbs which will tell us the likelihood, ability, permission, and possibility. Okay. Please don't forget these four. They are very, very important. See, these are the four simple examples, four simple main verbs which I have given so that you can understand it very well. Go, drink, eat, and do. All these are day-to-day activities, day-to-day actions that we do. Okay. So these are all the nouns. These are all the nouns. And what are these? These are subjects. I, we, they, you, he, she, it. So why I called it as noun? Because they are actually pronouns. Okay. So now see the sentence. I must go to sleep. So these are all, this is the structures here. I must go to sleep. We must go to sleep. They must go to sleep. You can drink some water. She can drink some water. It will eat some food. She may eat some food. She should eat some food. So all see here. So all these are, it gives you the different modalities. That is, it tells you about likelihood. It tells you about the ability. It tells you about the permission. It also tells you about the possibility. Okay. Here. So I must go to sleep. Why? Only then tomorrow I can wake up early and I can do something useful. Understood? So it talks about any of these four, either likelihood, ability, permission, or possibility. That is, if you go and sleep now, tomorrow you can wake up early and you can do some workout or study or whatever. It is possible. Yes. So it talks about possibility. Okay. They should eat some food. Otherwise, they might starve and die. Just an example I'm telling. Okay. So we will do some exercise. He will do some exercise. She will do some exercise. She should drink some water. She cannot she cannot say, I will not drink water. She should drink some water. Understood? This is the structure. You have the subject, that is the pronouns. You have the modal verbs, must. These are all just the example. Okay, example of the structure of structural example. This is what is this? This is a structural example. You have the main verb and the complement. Okay, see, I must go to sleep. They must go to sleep. He must go to sleep. She can drink some water. She may eat some food. It will eat some food. Okay. So this is the structure. Now let us move on. Now let us see how each of each of these are used in sentences. That is the list of modal verbs. Let us see each one how it is used in sentences and what it is used for. How it is used in a sentence and what it is used for. What it indicates here. Likelihood, ability, permission, possibility. Let us see in which one these could come. Okay. Can, ability or possibility, impossibility. That is the negative sentence. Possibility is the positive sentence. It can be used for positive as well as negative sentence. Asking for permission and request. Possibility. They can control their own work. You don't disturb them. So it talks about the possibility. What is that? They can control their own work. See there, the word can is used here to tell the possibility. What is it? They can control their own work. See the next one. Impossibility. That is the negative part of it or the negative sentence. We can't fix it. We cannot fix it or we can't fix it. What does that mean? That talks about the impossibility. That talks about the impossibility. We cannot fix it. Okay. Now asking for permission. See there. Can I bring here? I'm asking for permission. Can I bring here? Can I please sit down? Can I enter into the class? All these are asking for permission. See the next one. Request. can you help me? Permission is I am asking. Okay. Request is you will permit it. Okay. Request is I will ask, you will permit. Okay. See here. Request. Can you help me? Can you repeat it again? Can you close the door? Can you get me some water? Okay. Ask. See here. Asking for permission. Can I sit here? Can I bring here? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can she do this? Can he do that? So these are asking for permission. You have different four things. One is the possible, the other one is impossible. That is the possibility of the word can, the impossibility of the word. You can use it for permission. You can also use it for request. First sentence is they can control their work. Second one is we can't fix it. Impossible. Permission. Can I bring here? That is permission. Can you help me? That is request. So see the word can, how it is used in possibility, impossibility, permission, and request. Please note it down. I'll give you 10 seconds time. Only these four: can, dash, 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 possibility, impossibility, permission, and request. Please write it. You can only write the use, not the example. Example, you know, you can write it on your own. I want you guys to only write the possible. In fact, use, how to use the word can as a possibility, as an impossibility, as a permission, and as a request. Okay. Now let us move on with the next slide. Could. Could is used for permission. Could is also used for request. Could is also used for possibility. Could is also used for future actions as well as ability. Now for each one, for each use, let us see an example. Could I borrow your dictionary? See, could I borrow your dictionary? Could you say it again more slowly? A request. Could you say it again more slowly? That's a request. See the permission. Could I borrow your dictionary? I would say yes, you can borrow borrow my dictionary. See the next one, possibility. I think we could have another tea. I think we could have another tea. Possibility. Future action. I wish John could meet me next week. I wish John could meet me next week. What is that? Future action. Then see the last one, ability under could. He gave up his old job so he could work for us. So that is the ability of leaving a job and joining somewhere else. Okay, could. See there. He gave up his old job so he could work for us. He gave up his old job so he could work for us. That is ability. The word could is used over here as ability. Now, the word could is used over here as future. See here, I wish John could meet me next week. Could as possibility. I think we could have another tea. It's possible, right? I think we could have another tea. Request. Could you say it again more slowly? Could you please repeat it again? Could you please write on the board legibly? Could you please get me some water? Could you please talk softly? All these are requests. Permission. Could I borrow your dictionary? Could I borrow your phone to make a call to my mother? Could I borrow your pen to write a letter? All these are used. The word could is used as permission in these sentences. I have told you. So permission, request, possibility, future, and ability for could. Now let us move on with the okay. Before that, please write only the use for the word could. That is permission, request, possibility, future, ability. Please write it quickly. I hope all of you are noting it down. I'll give you some 5 seconds time. Could, permission, request, possibility, future, ability. Okay, now let us move on to the next slide. May. May is used for permission as well as possibility. Once again, permission. May I have another cup of coffee? May I have another cup of coffee? Here, I would like to tell you one more thing. May, the word may is used for unknown person. excuse me, the word may is used only for unknown person or strangers. The word can and could is used for known person, that is maybe your friends or your friend circle only. Okay, your colleagues, I mean, those who are in your cadre, those who are in your level, only with them you can use can or could. May, you have to use it only with strangers or whom you do not know. May is used only with strangers or with someone whom you do not know. Okay. Same like that. There is one more word, shall. Shall is used with someone who is upper or cadre. That is, for example, if as an assistant professor, if I am talking to my HOD, I cannot use the word may because my HOD is not a stranger. I cannot use the word can because my HOD is not my friend or my same cadre person. Only for my HOD or someone who is above the cadre, you should use the word shall. Shall I enter inside your cabin, ma'am? Shall I enter inside your cabin, sir? Okay. He or she is very known. I mean, he or she is a known person to me. He or she is my HOD, but I cannot use the word can or may because can is used for those who are of your age, of your level, of your cadre. Only for with them you use can. May is used for with strangers. If you go to a hotel, you're sitting over there, you're requesting for another coffee. You cannot tell them, can I have another cup of coffee? You cannot tell them. See, you can tell them. Most of them use like that. Okay, most of them speak like that, but that's wrong. But the meaning is conveyed. Listen, my dear friends, meaning is conveyed. If you ask, can I have a cup of coffee? He is going to give you. He is going to give you. No doubt in it. But that's not the right way to say. Most people do not know all these things. They they speak English. They feel they know English. They speak it out. But that's not right. Where what you are supposed to speak, you are supposed to use those words in those appropriate places. Yes, as law students inside the court, you have the legal language, you have the court language. Will you use local language? Will you use normal English over there? No, you are supposed to use those jargons in that particular place. Only then it will, I mean, it will have some weightage. Doctors will have to use their jargons in their profession. Only then it will have some weightage. Teachers will have to use their jargons in their profession. Only then it will have its own weightage. Like that, normal people will use normal English. You cannot use, as I have already told you, you go to a hotel, you are sitting over there. You cannot say, "Can I have a cup of, coffee or water or tea?" No. May I have a cup of coffee? May I have the menu card? May I have your menu book? That is how you are supposed to ask. But what do? We generally go there, we ask them, can I have a cup of coffee? Can I have your menu card? That's wrong. The thing is conveyed. What is conveyed? The what you want to tell is conveyed. What you had in your mind is conveyed. The message is conveyed. But whether it's conveyed right or wrong, he understood. He also has brought you a cup of coffee. That's all fine. Over. But that's not the right way to say. You're supposed to say, may I have another cup of coffee? Clear? So that is for permission. Possibility. I may finish my homework in the next 2 hours. Possible. It's possible, right? If there is no disturbance, if there is no phone call, if there is no disturbance from your friends or from your family members, you will be able to complete it, right? So you are telling it's possible. What is possible? You may be able to complete the homework in the next 2 hours. You may be able to complete the English assignments that I have given you in the next 2 hours if there is no disturbance. Am I right? This is possible, right? So the word may can be used as a permission as well as possible. Okay. Now we'll move on with the next slide. I hope you understood. So may, under that you have permission, possibility. I hope you have noted down. We'll move on with the next slide. Might, my dear friends, once again, possibility. We'd better phone tomorrow. They might be They might be eating their dinner now. Let Why? Because we do not know what's happening over there. It is possible. It is possible, right? What is that? They might be eating their dinner now. They might be eating their dinner now. What is that? It is possible. Possibility. What is that? Well, let us call them tomorrow. Let us not disturb them now. They might be eating their dinner now. Let us go to that place tomorrow. It might hurt them if you go now and disturb them. So it is a possibility, right? For possibility, we can use the word might. Okay. Now we'll move on with the next slide. See, all these look similar, but with slight variations. All these look similar, but with slight variations. For example, see, right from can, could, may, might, you have possibility in most of the things. You have permission in most of the things. But depends upon the situation, depends upon the place, depends upon the person, depends upon what we convey, depends upon what we convey. With a friend, we use can, as I have already told you. With with some unknown person, you use may. With some, I mean, with your known person, but with your senior colleague or with your senior executive, office executive, what do you speak? You use the word shall. So it all it conveys the same permission, it conveys the same possibility, it conveys the same ability, but depends on where, what, how, and when. My dear friends, all these things depends on, all these modal verbs depends on where, what, how, and when, also along with whom. That is very, very important. Clear? We'll move on with the next slide. Might, which we this is the one just we just saw. We'll move on to ought to. What do you mean by ought to? That's a very, very important word. See here, she ought to finish by next week. That means, unless you do this next week, you will not get your marks. Unless you complete all your assignments, you will not be promoted to the next class. Clear? See, that means saying what is right or correct. Okay, we are giving more weightage, more stress. So when you give more stress, we use ought to. I can say he has to complete it. If he completes it, he will get marks. I can say like that also. But when I say he ought to complete it by next week, that means there is no other go. There is no other go. There is only one statement. He or she ought to complete by next week. That means it is right. You have to. Okay. To give more stress on the work that you want it to be completed. One more example I'll give you. Simple. Yesterday we all celebrated, Mother's Day. I believe. I hope all of you celebrated Mother's Day. Now see the sentence. We ought to respect our parents. We ought to respect our parents. Clear, all of you? Is there any doubt in it? No, isn't it? Can you say can anybody say that I will not respect my parents? Can anybody say I will not respect my teachers? Can anybody say I will not respect any elder? No, isn't it? We ought to. Only then, because tomorrow we are all going to become parents. Tomorrow we are all going to become elders. Tomorrow we are all going to become very old. What you sow, so shall you reap. How you behave today, tomorrow others will behave with you the same manner. How you behave today, tomorrow others will behave with you in the same manner. If you show love, that is, if you sow, so shall you reap. Understood? If you sow seed, you will get grain. If you sow weed, you will get the same weed. So if you shower love on others, love and affection, others will shower love and affection when you become old. Yes? So ought to. Understood, my dear friends? This is just an example I want to tell you. Let's move on with the next slide. So ought to, saying what is right or correct. Okay, let's move on. Shall, offer, suggestion, permission. As I have already told you, this we use it only with the known person who is your senior colleague or your HOD or your teacher or someone who is above your cadre. Okay, see here. For you people, student and teacher, student with your HOD, student with your class teacher, student with your subject teacher, like that. Okay, or even student with your senior students. You people, you guys are in the first years, your second year students or third year students. Okay, with them you can use shall. No problem. Even if you use can, no one is going to ask you because no one knows all these things generally. Okay, you're going to the second year classroom and you're asking, can I come inside? They're not going to say, no, you cannot come inside. How can you use the word can? You're supposed to use the word shall. No one is going to say like that. But you are supposed to use it rightly. Clear? Offer. Shall I help you with your luggage? Shall I help you with your luggage? That is, you're offering a help to your senior. Suggestion. Shall we say 2:30 then? You're suggesting, okay? When there's an assignment, all of you are sitting and discussing, then you are suggesting, why now, why not 2:30? Shall we say 2:30 then? That's suggestion that you are giving. Permission. Shall I do that or will you? Shall I do that or will you? That's a permission. Maybe senior might have forgotten something. So the junior is asking, shall I do that or will you do it? All these are okay used with known persons. Again, I'm telling you, all these are used with known persons, but with your official or yes, official work, your seniors, your HOD teachers, with them you use the word shall. Okay, offer. Shall I help you with your luggage? Can you hold on? Can you hold on, students? இல்ல இது மூவ் ஆக மாட்டேங்குது. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. Small technical glitch. Okay, I'm so sorry about it. Let us continue. Okay, so shall is used for offer, suggestion, and permission. Shall I help you with some luggage? Shall I carry your notebook, sir? Shall I carry your file, madam? Suggestion. Shall I do this for you? Okay, permission. Shall I do that or will you? Okay, that is permission. Okay, shall is used for offer, suggestion, permission. Clear? Now we'll move on with the next slide. Should. Two things. Once again, it is almost like ought to. It is almost like ought to. Saying what is right or correct. And one more thing is possibility. Saying what is right or correct. And one more thing is possibility. We should solve this problem. What do you mean by we should solve this problem? That is, we only have to do it. Okay, we should. It gives more stress. We should solve this problem. See the next year. That's a possibility. We should decrease next year due to the corona problem. We should decrease next year. Why? Because no one is having enough money. All the businesses have come down. No one is having enough money. So We should come down. We should decrease next year. This is a possibility. Okay, my dear friends. So for should, you have two things. One is saying the right one. The other one is possibility. See it? We should solve this problem. Otherwise, somebody else will do it and we will not get the good name. We will not get our whatever we are supposed to get. Why? Because we have not done it. Example. Okay. We'll move on with the next slide. Will used for decisions, for offer, promise. Generally, all of us, this word is a common word for all of us, right? This word is a common word for all of us. Decisions, offer, promise. I hope all of you are writing the use side. That is will hyphen decisions, offer, promise. I hope all of you are writing. Please do so. Okay, my dear friends. Decisions. I can't see any taxis, so I will walk. I can't see any taxis, so I will walk. Offer. I will do that for you if you like. I will do that for you if you like. Okay. Promise. I will come back on Monday. I will come back on Monday. My dear friends, will is used with friends, family members, colleagues, seniors, juniors. With everybody, we use this word will. Okay. This also talks about the immediate and future action. It talks about the immediate and future action. See here. What is the immediate action over here? Decision. See here. I can't see any taxi, so I will walk. It can be walk now or maybe after some time. Okay. Walk now is the present. Walk after some time is the future action. The present action is I can't see any taxi, so I will walk now. Okay. Present action. It can also be used for future action. What is that? I can't see any taxis, so I will walk later. Possible, right? So, decision, offer. I will do that for you if you like. I will do that for you if you like. Okay, so that is, and you are offering to do something. So the same thing can be used for shall. I shall do that for you if you like. So that you this will this offer will you cannot use with your senior colleagues or with your teachers or with your HODs. Understood? This will is for your friends, your family members, for your known people, everybody, but not with your seniors. Someone has fallen on the road, someone has dropped the bag on the road, you are offering, may I help you? May I take this for you? Take this and keep it for you. So that is an offer. Once again, that is also an offer. May is also an offer. Shall is also an offer. Will is also used as an offer. But with different people, with different persons. May with unknown people. Shall you're offering with your senior colleagues or with your HODs or with the teachers. And over here, will offer you are using with everybody, with common people, with your friends, with your family members, okay, with your brothers, sisters, everybody. You use the word will. Clear? Promise. That's a very common thing all of us do, but I don't know how many of us keep up to our promises. That is very everybody promise. Yes, everybody promise, but who is keeping it up? We do not know. I will come I will you complete the homework, all of you? Yes, sir. I promise, sir. I will send the homework promptly. I open the Google Classroom. I keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And I keep sending reminders and reminders. And still, as usual, I don't get any proper reply from my own students. I don't know why. Maybe you people are very, very busy with all the subjects. I do understand. But then please spend some time for English also because the mode of communication in court, in in court, in the college, in school, everywhere, official communication is only through English, my dear friends. So if you ignore English, everything will go waste. Communication, if communication fails, everything fails. If you whatever you have in your mind, only if you express it properly, everything will happen properly. For that, language is very, very essential. Okay, language is just a part of everything, but language is very, very essential. I'm telling you. So please take all the assignments very seriously and send it promptly. If people have enough time, please do it. Okay. Okay. Now let us move on with the next slide. Would. Once again, permission, request, invitation. Permission, request, invitation. Would you mind if I brought a friend with me? Would you mind waiting a moment? This is, see, this particular word would is very, 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 very polite. This word would in English vocabulary, the word would is the most polite word that we ever have. Would you mind? Would you like to play basketball this Friday? Would you mind waiting a moment? Would you mind if I brought a friend along with me? All these are permission, request, invitation, all these are the most polite word in English language is would. Everybody, if you use this word would, nobody will say no. If you say, would you mind waiting a moment? Anybody will say, okay, fine, no problem. Even if he is very, very angry, whatever, sir, would you mind waiting a moment, waiting for a moment? My boss is busy with some, with in another call or something like that. They will wait. Why? Because the word would is such a polite word. So even if someone is angry, he or she will calm down. Why? Because you have used the word would. If you say, will you mind? Will you wait for some time? He will say, no. How dare you tell me like this? Okay. So if you want to calm down somebody, if you want to, if you want to be polite with somebody, use the word would. If you want to be polite with somebody, we are supposed to use the word would because this is the most polite word that is ever used in English. Would. Permission. Would you mind if I brought a friend with me? Request. Would you mind waiting a moment? Invitation. Would you like to play basketball this Friday? Okay. So all these are words that are used to say permission, that is express permission, express request, and express invitation through the word would. Would expresses permission, would expresses request, and would expresses invitation, my dear friends. Okay, clear? Please write the use alone, would hyphen permission, request, invitation. Okay, now let us move on with the next slide. So till now we saw the first part, that is modal verbs. A fast recap. So modal verbs is an auxiliary verb which is used to indicate modality, that is likelihood, ability, permission, possibility. Okay, what are all those? Can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, ought to, must. Now we'll move on with the next part. That is formal letters. We have seen this in your school. You have seen last semester, every semester, every subject, we will have this. Why? Because it is very, very important. Because any communication, even yesterday I was, listening to the news, and it was very clearly given. Our CM has written a formal letter to our PM regarding the pandemic. Regarding the pandemic, he has written a letter. Today, 21st century, 2000, we are in 2020, mid of 2020. You have internet connection, you have phone calls, you have everything, you have email, everything is so fast. But the only thing that can be documented is formal letters, my dear friends. The only thing that is used for documentation is formal letters. So it is very, very important. That is why every time we keep repeating it again and again and again. Why? Even if even if you know all these things, still we commit mistakes. We have studied this in school. You might have studied this in maybe business communication or something. Still, people commit mistakes. Okay, we'll move on. Formal letters. Formal letter is a letter written in formal language in a stipulated format. You have a format for it, for official purpose only. Understood? For official purpose only. For personal reasons, for personal use, you have informal letters or personal letters. These are official letters, which are otherwise called as formal letters. It is written for business or professional purposes with a specific objective in mind. It is written for business or professional purposes with a specific objective in mind. Okay. Here you don't say, hey, how are you? That language, you don't use informal language. In a formal letter, you don't use informal language. People will not respect you. People will not respect your business. People will not respect your profession when you are very, very informal. In fact, in a formal, see, even our college, okay, only inside the four walls. I'm telling you, my dear friends, only within the four walls you can be informal. Once you are out of that four wall, you should be very, very formal. Even in your house, my dear friends, because you might be having your younger brothers or sisters, they will look at you, how you sit, how you stand, how you behave with your parents, how you behave with your neighbors, how you behave with your elders, what channels you see, how long you see, how you waste your time, do you study, do you play, how long you use your mobile phones, all these things people will see, people will watch. So you have to be very, very formal. Your language should be formal. You also should be very, very formal. You by yourself should be very, very formal. Only then tomorrow, when you grow up, when you become an individual, when you start your life all alone, you will not have any glitches in your life. You will not have any problems in your life. Otherwise, we will have to run back to our parents or to our friends or to our elders or to some elders to ask for counseling, to ask for suggestions. Understood? So you should be very, very formal. As I have already told you, only within the four walls. If at all you have a separate room, only within the four walls, you can be informal, however you want. Once you come out, my dear friends, as I have already told you, again I'm repeating, you might have your younger brothers, sisters, they will be watching you. They will grow through you. They will look at you and they will do it. So this is not a warning, but I'm just trying to tell you, I'm trying to educate you how to be. Okay. So it uses simple language but formal language. Okay, that can be easy to read and interpret. That can be easy to read and interpret. So you have something called, what are the different types of formal letters? You have a letter of complaint, you have a letter of inquiry, you have a letter of request, and of course we apply for jobs, isn't it? So that is also a formal letter. Letter of complaint. A letter of complaint is sent to an individual or organization in response to receiving poor service or product that is not fit for purpose. You ask for something, you have got it, but that is not good. You order something through Amazon, the product is hopeless, the product is not good, the product is not worth it. What do? You send a letter of complaint saying that what sort of product have you sent? What sort of service is this? You know, that is when we send complaint letters. See that it is given very clearly. An example of a letter of complaint would be a one sent to a tour operator who has provided a bad service while you have been on holiday. Possible, right? There are so many tour operators. One of my friends is also a tour operator. He keeps telling me, hey, why don't you plan for a foreign trip? Why don't you plan for a 3 or 4 days foreign trip? But I mean, I don't know. I don't get. I don't have any confidence in such people, because while we see itself, we understand. Okay, some are good, some are not, some are okay, some are bad. Okay, it's like that. So before doing something, you have to analyze. If you are very right, there won't be any complaints, there won't be any problems. Okay, so you have to be proper. You have to choose your operator who that is the service provider. He should also be proper. That is, if you are proper, he will also be proper. Payments will be proper. You should pay him properly, then the service will be better. Everything depends on how we behave, my dear friends. Okay, or a product that is not working, or anything that is not up to the level of satisfaction. If you're not satisfied, automatically what do we do? Generally, okay, we go to hotels, right? We go to restaurants. So there is a, once we complete it, there's a big notebook. What is that notebook? There's a suggestion box. There is also excuse me, there's a notebook where you can write your comments, your valuable comments, please. They come and ask you're valuable. Whenever you go to five-star hotels, they ask you for valuable comments. Why? Only then, by looking at that valuable comments, they will get increment. Who? Those employees will get increment from their employers. Okay, so if the service is good, then that means what? He is going to get good reviews. He is going to get good salary hike. So if it is not good, what are you going to do? It's for sure you're going to complain. If the food is not good, what are you going to do? You're going to complain. If the product is not going to do not good, what are you going to do? You're going to complain. So that is when you use complaint letter. Okay, formal letters. These are all not informal letters. You don't say, "Hi, how are you? I came to your hotel. Your hotel's infrastructure was very good, but I had your food. The food was very, very bitter. The food was not tasty." You write like that? No. 2 sentences or 3 sentences? Very, very formal sentences. Yes, that is formal letter. Next, letter of inquiry. What do you mean by letter of inquiry? As the word goes, letter of inquiry. For example, if I'm starting a hotel, if I'm starting a new, probably a language center, what do? I want classrooms, I want chairs, I want tables, I want board, everything. So what do? I inquire. I send inquiry letters to manufacturers of boards, manufacturers of tables, manufacturers of chairs, manufacturers of computers. I send them, I send them a letter of inquiry, asking them to send me, I mean, send a copy of all the queries that I have, asking them to send a copy of all the queries that what is that? What is the cost of the table? What is the cost of the bench? What is the cost of the computer if I buy in bulk? What is the cost of the whiteboard or blackboard if I buy in bulk? So this is an inquiry letter that I send. For what? So that he will give me a reply. First comes inquiry letter, then comes reply, third comes payment, fourth comes the product, fifth comes if you are satisfied, you send a satisfaction letter. If you're not satisfied, you send a complaint letter. Clear? So inquiry. Letter of inquiry makes an approach to an individual or an organization, either requesting some information. See that. An example of a letter of inquiry would be one sent to a company requesting a copy of their catalog or brochure. I told you, I want to buy some tables and chairs for my classroom. So what do? I select some 3-4 people, not just one, but 3-4 people, and I ask them to send their brochures and catalogs, so that finally I will choose one who is where the product is good and the cost is reasonable. I want the product also to be good. I want the service also to be good, and the cost also should be reasonable. So I cannot just go and get it directly from one person. I have to do a market research. That is why this letter of inquiry is used. That is where this letter of inquiry plays a vital role. You send it to various people. So how you will find out is who sends the letter first. That is your reply. When who sends a proper reply, who sends all the information clearly, who talks to you first, who talks to you better. So there are so many things, my dear friends. So that is what is called as letter of inquiry. So finally you will decide, yes, okay, he suits me well. Yes. So that is what inquiry letter is all about. Now let us move on. We hardly have another 5 minutes. We'll have to rush on with the topics. Yes. Letter of request. A letter of request is similar to letter of inquiry, as I have already told you. Okay, it is see that, but specifically asks an individual or organization to take an action. For example, I request you to send me only these tables which I have selected. You sent an inquiry. He gave you a reply with many items. You send a request letter back to him, ticking only those products that you want, and send him a letter. That is called as a requisition letter. That is saying that I want only these things. I don't want everything. Instead, you send me only these things, and if possible, give me some discount, or if possible, give me in credit. Maybe in 2 or 3 months, I might give you back once my business develops or once my business grows. Yes. So that is a letter of request, otherwise called as requisition letter. Even for example, if you want to go for any if you want to go for excursion, or if you want to go to some other college to attend maybe symposium or seminar or maybe some function, what do? You write a requisition letter to your HOD. You write a requisition letter to your class teacher. Am I right? So that is also similar to this. Okay. Yes. Let us move on now. Applying for a job. Applying for a job is sent to an individual or an organization to ask for a position within a company and stating the main characteristics of a person's curriculum and work experience. Usually encloses brief resume. So what you do? You write a covering letter. You send a covering letter along with your resume. So that letter is a formal letter where he will read about you through that letter. So you express your own self, you express yourself fully in that letter when you apply for a job. Okay, that is called as covering letter. And then you attach your resume along with it. Okay, now let us quickly move on with the sample formal letter. Please look at the letter, all of you. So first is the sender's address, then comes the date, then is the receiver's address, then you have the salutation, then you have the greetings, then you have the subject of the letter, then you give an introduction about what it is all about, then body of the letter, that is you send an introduction about yourself, then you type the body of the letter regarding what the letter is all about, then the concluding paragraph, the closing line and signature. Okay, so this is the format. Okay, please have a look at it once again. We hardly have another 3-4 minutes. We have to wind up the session now. Clear, all of you? Have you all seen? Okay, we'll move on. Now the last one is informal letters. Before that, I will tell you what we have seen here. It's a letter of inquiry, letter of request, letter of complaint, and applying for letter of jobs. What is that? Covering letter, requisition letter, inquiry letter, complaint letter. Covering letter, requisition letter, inquiry letter, covering letter. In fact, complaint letter. Requisition letter is when you request something for you. If you want to get something, you request formal letters. Inquiry, if you are inquiring about something, you send an inquiry letter. After having received all these things, when you are not satisfied with their service or with the product, send a complaint letter. Okay, all these are, it comes one after the other. And of course, this is a different genre altogether. That is the job category. This is not. This is also a formal letter. That is why it is included over here. What is that? Applying for a job. Okay, applying for jobs. Now let us move on with the last one, that is informal letter. So informal letters, as you all know, the word says informal, that is personal. To whom do you send? To your friends, to your family members, to your relatives. Okay, you use informal language. An informal letter is a letter that is written to friends, relatives, family members. It is written to another people, including business partners with whom you have personal bonding. If you have personal bonding, that is, if you are inviting your business partners for your sons or daughters' birthday party, or for your wedding, or for your elder sisters or younger sisters' wedding, you send an informal letter to them. Okay, this letter is also called as personal letter. Last slide. Please look at the letter. This is the format of the letter. Can you all look at it? So this is the format of the letter, where see the difference between this format and that format. Here you have the from address, to address. Okay, see the salutation is different. Everything is different. Over here, it is totally different. See here, you only have the from address, you have the date, and you don't give a formal salutation, but a different sort of salutation. That is your personal salutation. Okay, dear Ram, my dear Ram, hey Ram, however you want. Okay, so then the letter, and finally see how you have finished. You don't write yours lovingly, or my friend, like that. You don't write in formal letters, but here in informal letters you write yours lovingly, yours affectionately, These are, this tells, if you use these words, it means that it is an informal letter. Clear, all of you? I hope you guys are clear with it. Okay. So in the previous 1 hour, what all did we see? There's a small recap. That is, we saw modal verbs, we saw formal letters, and we saw informal letters. So in modal verbs, what all did we see? We saw definition, structure, and how the modal verbs are used in different places. So under modal verbs, we saw where it is used. What is that? Likelihood, ability, permission, and possibility. How many are they? You have can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, ought to, and must. These are the things that we saw. Okay. How are we using it? Through our pronouns, that is subject. Okay. That is I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Okay. I must go. We must go. Okay. These are the examples which we have already seen. That is the structure. So here you have all which we have already, and which I have already explained, and you have already seen. Formal letters. Once again, you have, what are they? You have 4. One is inquiry, request, complaint, job application. Inquiry, request, complaint, and job application. And finally, you have, this is the format that we have already seen. And finally, you have informal letters. Where do we use informal letters? Only to our families, friends, and relatives, and also to your business partners if you have a close relationship with them. Okay, with this we end. Okay, so this is the formal letter that I have shown you. We are ending it. Any questions? Anytime, please mail me, call me, WhatsApp me, Google Classrooms. Everything is available. I'm always there to clear your doubts. Okay, so stay home, stay safe till the instructions you get it from the college. Stay home, stay safe. Don't run here and there. Be at home. Be good. Do good. Okay. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all. God bless you once again. Thank you.